Well, we did it again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're up to 12 EXPs now, dang it. Holy gramoly. We got more on the way. Well, this one's pretty neat, huh? Check out them decals. So we got another 1982, as almost all of them are, you know, that's how it goes. And this one's just plain red on the outside. And of course, since it's red on the outside, it's red on the inside. It's kind of how the 82s go. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. You can see the interior is actually in some pretty great shape. Look at that. But that's how it goes with these Wisconsin cars, you know. This one had been up here for quite a long time. But I got a suspicion that it was somewhere south. We'll do a Carfax on this thing and learn some of its history. But the guy I got it from, he had been driving it from 06 to, you'll see where it was when it was last plated, 09. And about that time, 2009-ish, it got into a little bit of fender bender with a deer because, well, that's how it goes in Wisconsin. We're not allowed to shoot deer willy-nilly. So they overpopulate, and then they cause car accidents and people die. But the guy who got in this accident, he lived like we usually do. But it needs some help. You can see it's pretty beefcaked in this front corner. But we can pop all that out, and then we can clean up that rust, and we can paint match some of this stuff. But the question is how much is some of that stuff worth doing? You see, there's a lot of brown, and that's the brown that you're seeing so far isn't all that much of an issue. I think this graphic is really cool. It says EXP, and then you got the 6 horizontal stripes that go all the way down across the whole length of the car. It's pretty fly. The paint will buff out to some extent, but not very well. You can see there's some amount of primer that's trying to poke through. Same with these C-pillar sails. Sails are made out of some sort of steel aluminum alloy, so they never really rust or corrode or anything, but over time they lose their paint. So he had a deer hit it, and it bounced along the whole driver's side, causing all that damage. Every inch of that was from a deer. So otherwise it looked like this. That side's pretty primo if it wasn't for the fading and algae growth. But yeah, he said it was a big guy, ran into that front quarter. That's why that's all messed up. Rolled down the side, buckled a little bit of the door, but when he gets out, it got caught on that fender, and that's where the door got buckled even more. But that's just how it goes. What the hell are you supposed to do? Further down, messed up this right below the door handle, buckled some of that in, and then just like mine, it did cause a little bit of damage in here. We got a small dent down right in there, and then bust that taillight a little bit. Luckily, you can see here these taillights are actually segmented. There's a few different segments. There's the end cap triangle. We'll show you a whole one here. Here we go. So that is one piece. You can see the seam right where I'm pointing. And that whole triangle is one piece. Then you have the main rectangle portion, which is here, another piece. You have another piece here, just this black portion, and the separate clear lens. And then we have the license plate, lens, and then another small black piece there. So when things like this happen to these, I tell everybody, hey, please save them. Hold on to your taillights, because these taillights are really hard to find. I myself don't have a very awesome collection. I got enough for every car to have 1.5 sets. I know I got a lot of these cars, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not too great. Assuming every single one of these cars is going to get some sort of rock chip, or someone bump into these with a shopping cart, or dinged up down the road, it's very easy to kiss these guys goodbye. But hold on to them, even if they're like this, because this main panel, it's mostly good. There's one hole, but you could fill that and the rest of it would be usable. You could put this on a beater, it'd be very nice, this one shell portion. Otherwise, the rest of this is perfectly fine. And I see them go the other way when people are loading stuff in here. They mess up these inside ones. That happens on occasion. When that happens, you have the whole rest of the taillight that's just perfect, or at least intact, not going to collect water or anything. But yeah, that's what happened to this thing. So it was only driven from 06 to 09. Last I know, like I said, we'd have to look up Carfax to see what records existed before that. See where it's been its whole life. But it is a made in Canada car. Sadly, the build tag is missing, the buck tag, whatever you'd like to call it. That's where that rusty spot is. There'd normally be an aluminum piece of tin underneath that screw, but over time they do fall off, vibrate off, whatever. But that lists a lot of info on the car. It lists pretty much all the options, from exterior paint, interior color. Some of them dictate or I should say describe the seat options. They'll also say if you have power steering. They'll say if you have 2 mirrors. They'll say what transmission you have, or at least whether it's auto or manual. The hood, she's in real bad shape. It's rotted pretty bad, and I blame that from battery acid vapors. So yes, just as your battery sits, the vapors from the acid slowly event out the vents in here, slowly emit out of that and just chews away hoods. Interesting, this is one of the few that I have that actually still has a headliner, or a hood liner, I should say, sorry. That's pretty rare. I pretty much never get to come across any of those. They're usually all so deteriorated that there's like a small chunk hanging and the rest just freaking falls off and creates a big old mess in the engine bay. But it's a very early 82. This comes out to being EXP number 1800-ish, somewhere around that point. So it's one of the oldest EXPs I have. I think it's second in line with my convertible. That one's really old. That one comes up as EXP number 1200, but I believe it's a pre-production prototype. Anyhow, this is a 4-speed car. It is a blue tag, so it's just the normal wide ratio 4-speed with the 58 gears, or 378. I think it's 358. Anywho, it's not the short ratio one, the yellow one, call that the Screamer. And then it's just manual steering. That's just the smog pump in the back. There's no AC. There are dual mirrors. And just like all my other EXPs, it has plain stereo sound system. So there should be speakers behind those 2 grills, but you can tell it's stereo because these speaker grills have speakers behind them, but then these are our speaker grills. EXPs that are only mono, these would usually just have like coin trays, and then you'd have one lone speaker underneath that clock portion. And this does still have the clock. Some of my cars are clock delete. But, this one not so much. Sadly, it had louvers, and the previous owner knows of them, but he doesn't know where they are. He might have pitched them. I don't know what they were or what they would have looked like, but they were stainless steel, which is mighty interesting. I don't know what the heck they were, but they would have been a really cool set. So, but if any of you guys recognize them or know what brand they might have been, let me know in the comments. They made a lot of different louvers for these kits, or these cars. I got Krager ones, I got plastic dealer aftermarket ones. And I got a few more coming around the bend real soon here. There's a lot. I've seen the Chaston Shadow brand. There's a lot. But the car itself, it's got a couple issues. First of all, it's pretty holey. You can see the holes in the carpet. And it's a shame because if it wasn't for that, this would be a really good carpet. There is a little bit of fading. You can see the carpet's trying to turn white. but for the most part, it's the correct red. Over there, you can see there's more holes. But these seats are almost superb. These things are great. Over time, they usually do this. This is what happens to all my blue ones, and for whatever reason, it happens to blue ones first. The blue flock wears off, and then you're just left with this kind of whitish or silverish stripe pattern underneath it. That's all that remains. Your whole seat will become this color. But these red ones, they hold on to their flock a lot longer. They literally last 4 times longer, or over the course of half the time. So it's just amazing how these red ones hold up. But the blue ones they fade so bad so fast, and then they wear out so dang fast. It's unbelievable. This guy does have a bunch of miles. If we looky here, you can see what it says there. It starts with a 0, and then it's a 5, and then it's a 965. So no, it doesn't have just shy of 6,000 miles. We're talking 106,000, maybe 206,000. And one thing that I see here that's concerning me is it was stored all this time with that right vent open. I mean, it doesn't make too much a difference on the right side, because that's what that pull knob is, if you were wondering. The non-AC cars will have these pull-out vents. And then the dealer AC cars have these too. But the ones that are not factory AC will have those. What happens is you pull the chute, and then there's a rubber flapper inside this giant tube underneath the plastic cover here. So when you pull that knob, it opens the chute, and then you'll have air coming in through this venting in the hood, through here, and it will come straight through the nearest vent, just the one. And air comes through there as fast as it does come through the window. So it feels as cool as whatever air would typically be coming out of your window, which is mighty impressive, and it blows as fast as it does coming out your window. It's incredible. It works better than just the cold fan setting on the AC cars, as embarrassed as I am to say that. So I honestly think the best combination is dealer AC on a non-AC car. That's just going to be best, unless your AC works. If your AC works, it's a different story. But anyway, the problem is when you have that chute open, it's just open air. Anything that's up in this cowl can get down into the interior, and that's when these go to hell fast. On the passenger side, that's less of an issue, simply because the chute doesn't really block all that anyways. The chute on the passenger side, the issue is that same chute, it's shared by the whole HVAC system. So even if you have that chute closed, critters and crap can stuff your HVAC system full of whatever they feel like nesting in. But you having that thing open, they're going to get into the interior slightly faster. But that's about it for this guy. It's still wearing stock wheels, stock style tires. Sadly, it's not rocking stock exhaust. Let's look at this here. Yeah, we can see it's been changed out for an aftermarket Escort one at some point, but that's all right. It's still useful to me like that. We'll put it to good use, but we'll know more once we start stripping the interior out. But this guy's got plenty of holes underneath, and the rockers, you'll see they're MIA. They're gone. That's a problem. I mean, I can go about fixing them, but that's a lot of work. I'd rather just take an Escort, cut that up, and then save one of these with it. That's kind of what I've been trying to do. There's plenty of enough Escorts out there. There's not too many EXPs, so we're trying to turn those tables. And there's a few broken parts on this guy. We can bang out these fenders and make them straight. Same with the rest of the body panels. And it could clean up nice. All this moss is typical of Wisconsin cars. Our winters are really harsh and our summers don't get very wet. They get plenty humid, but they don't get too wet. So moss will grow on this, on pretty much any panel they can that's not on direct sunlight. That's why you'll never see it on the hood, the roof, or the trunk tops. But they love the sides, and boy, they love plastic. They eat up these freaking bumpers like you wouldn't freaking believe. But they grow pretty bad in the shade, so it's a double-edged sword. You want to keep them in the shade so the interiors don't go to heck, but that's where all the moisture is, and that's where this crap thrives. So we'll scrape that off, blast off, whatever we need to do, make this guy shine up better. And then once we start emptying out the interior, we can give it a more complete evaluation, figure out what we want to do as far as saving this one versus using this to save another. I'm not too picky. We got nicer EXPs we can save, but I want to save them all. Until more of you guys step up to the plate and take some burden off of my back, I'm doing it mano y mano, taking these things down. But yeah, that's about all I had for you guys. You know, no sunroof, no luggage rack, nothing crazy notable. It's a mid-level car. And the nice thing is, if it wasn't for the carpet, the interior is in such nice shape. Well, and the headliner's got one heck of a mouse nest in it. Anywho, the interior is in such a nice shape. I bet when we pull out the seats, we'll find that build sheet underneath it, describing all the options for everything. Every single little package and how these things were plucked out and then kicked out the door. I do have some sheets for those, but I've been trying to acquire more of them so we can decipher them better. Because no literature for these really stuck around. You can get stuff like that for Mustangs all day, every day, but Escorts and EXPs, no one cared then, and few care now. But that's all we got for you guys today. Keep a lookout. We'll have another video up real soon of a few more cars that are coming down the pike very soon. Yeah, great stuff. So far, they've all been coming to me more or less. This was roadside find. One of my friends was driving around nearby, saw this in a backyard out of the corner of his back mirror as he's driving away. He was looking around, saw this like a good 400 feet away through his mirror behind a cornfield on the back side of a house behind a whole bunch of weeds. He was able to see this through a mirror. If you imagine 500 feet away, if you imagine that looking, blurry as all be, like that, 500 feet away, he was able to pick that out as an EXP. So he sent me a screenshot and a GPS coordinate, and out I came. And the very next day, and then yeah, talked with the owner. A week later, brought it home. But I got more coming to me like that I haven't orchestrated, and I do have one more side of the road find coming, and I've been working on it for a few months. It's been a real pain in the butt getting it out of where it's hiding, but we'll get there, and we'll have one heck of a video for you when it's all done. So stay tuned. Thanks, guys.